Hello everyone. If you liked my video, please don't forget to like, share and subscribe. This is day 14 of the Read With Me challenge of the book First Time at Malory Towers by Enid Blyton. A sudden quarrel. But Sally was not easy to find. She seemed to have completely disappeared again. It occurred to Darrell to wonder if Sally was avoiding her. But no, why should she? There would be no reason for that. She hunted everywhere for Sally. Nobody knew where she was. It was peculiar. Darrell went back to her parents, anxious not to lose any more of their company, for time was precious now. Well, I can't find Sally, she said. She completely vanished. Anyway, I'll give her her mother's message. What was it, mother? Oh, her mother seemed a little worried about Sally because it's her first term at boarding school and Sally writes such funny wooden little letters, said Miss Rivers. I showed Miss Hope some of your letters, darling. I knew you wouldn't mind. And she said she did wish Sally would write more news to her and send her letters like yours. She said she seemed to have lost touch with her completely. She was really worried. She wanted me to speak to Sally and tell her she sent her fondest love and was so sorry she couldn't come and see her this half term. And she said her baby sister sent her hugs and kisses. I'll tell her, said Darrell, very puzzled. But mother dear, Sally is awfully funny about things. She truly and honestly did tell me she hasn't got a sister, and she was furious with me for talking about her mother. She said I was interfering and all sorts of things. Well, perhaps she was joking, said Miss Rivers, also rather puzzled. Sally does know she's got a baby sister at home. For one thing, that was why she was sent to boarding school, so that the baby, who is rather delicate, could have all Miss Hope's scare. All Miss Hope's care. It's a dear little thing. Been losing your temper yet, Darrell? Asked Darrell's father with a twinkle in his eye. Darrell went red. Well, I did once, and after I had made up my mind I wouldn't too. Oh, Darrell, you didn't lose it badly, I hope, said her mother anxiously. Emily answered for Darrell. Oh, she just gave a most exasperating girl some jolly good slaps in the pool. You could almost hear them up at the towers. Darrell, said her mother, shocked. Darrell grinned. I know, awful of me, wasn't it? I shan't do it again. I've got my temper well in hand now. We've all wanted to do a bit of slapping where that peculiar girl is concerned, said Emily so secretly we were rather pleased. They all laughed. Darrell felt so happy that she was sure she would never lose her temper again in her life. What a pity a day like this had to come to an end. But it did come to an end. At about 6 o'clock, the cars began to pour out of the big drive, and girls waved wildly. One by one, their parents went, and the excited chattering died down. The girls went into their common rooms to talk over events of the day. After a while, Darrell remembered the message she had for Sally Hope. She glanced around the common room. Sally wasn't there. Where was she? She seemed always to be disappearing. Where is Sally Hope? Asked Darrell. I believe she's in one of the music rooms, said Catherine. Goodness knows why she wants to practice today when everyone is let off lessons. I'll go and find her, said Darrell and walked off. She made her way to the music room where the girls did their practicing each day. They were tiny rooms containing only a piano, a stool, and a chair. Music came from two of them. Darrell peeped into the first one. Irene was there playing softly to herself. She didn't even see Darrell. Darrell smiled and shut the door. Irene was certainly mad on music. She came to the other practice room from which music was coming. It was not the entrancing melodies that Irene had been playing though, but plain five-finger exercises played over and over again in an almost angry manner. Darrell opened the door. Yes, Sally was there, all right. Good. Darrell went in and shut the door. Sally turned round and scowled. I'm practicing, she said. Get out. What's the matter with you? Said Darren, feeling annoyed immediately. You don't need to jump down my throat like that. I've been trying to find you all day. My mother wanted to speak to you. Well, I didn't want to speak to her, said Sally, and began to thump out the irritating exercise again, up and down, up and down. Why shouldn't you want to speak to my mother? Cried Darrell angrily. She had a message for you from your mother. No answer. Up and down went Sally's finger on the notes, more loudly than ever. Darrell lost her temper. Stop playing, she shouted. Don't be so horribly rude. Whatever is the matter with you? Sally put the loud pedal down and crashed the notes more loudly than ever. Plainly, she was not going to listen a word. Darrell went near to her and put her mouth to her ear. Why did you say you haven't got a sister? You have, and that's why your mother couldn't come and see you. But she sent you her love and said. Sally swung round from the piano, her face looking pure and white. Shut up, she said, interfering, little busybody. Leave me alone. Just because you have been with your mother all day long and had her fussing around you, you think you can come and taunt me like this? I hate you. You're mad, cried Darrell, and she struck her hand on the piano, making a curious sound of clashing noise. You won't listen when I want to tell you things, but you shall listen. Your mother told mine that you only write her funny wooden letters, she said. I won't listen, said Sally in a choking voice and got up from the stool. She pushed Darrell blindly away, but Darrell could not bear to be touched when she was in a temper, and she shoved back with all her might. She was strong, and she sent Sally flying across the room. She fell across the chair and lay there for a moment. She put her hands on her stomach. Oh, it hurts, she said. Oh, you wicked girl, Darrell. Darrell was still trembling with anger as Sally stumbled out of the room. But almost immediately her rage went, and she was overwhelmed with horror. How could she have been so awful? Sally was pure and silly and horrid. It was true, but Darrell, had used her strength against her to hurt her. She had lost her temper all over again, after boasting to her parents only a little while ago that she never would any more. She ran to the door, eager to go after Sally and beg her pardon. But Sally was nowhere to be seen. Darrell ran back to the common room. No Sally there either. She sat down in a chair and rubbed her hot forehead. What a scene! How disgusting! Why couldn't she manage her temper? What's up? Asked Alicia. Oh, nothing much. Sally was a bit difficult, that's all, and I lost my temper, said Darrell. Idiot, said Alicia. What did you do? Slap her? Give her some broth without any bread? Darrell couldn't smile. She felt near tears. What a horrid ending to such a lovely day. After all the excitement and now this sudden blow, she felt quite exhausted. She was not all pleased when Emily came up with her soon. I do think you people are nice. I do think your people are nice, began Emily and started to chatter in a way she seldom did. How boring. Darrell wanted to tell Emily to be quiet. If she had been Alicia, she would, but as a rule, she was kinder than the sharp tongued Alicia and did not like to hurt people's feelings. So she bore with Emily as patiently as she could. Mary Lou watched her from the other side of the room. She wanted to come over and join Emily and Darrell, but Gwendolyn was pouring out reams of family history to her, and she had to listen. Also, she was a little afraid that Darrell might snub her if went across. Darrell watched for Sally to appear in the common room. Perhaps she could slip over to her then and tell her she was sorry. She was ashamed of herself now, and she could only put it right by telling Sally. Oh dear. It was awful to have a temper that simply rose up out of the blue before you even knew it was coming. What could you do with a temper like that? Sally didn't come back to the common room. Soon the supper bell went and the girls filed into the dining room. Darren looked about for Sally again, but still she wasn't there. This was really very queer. Miss Potts noticed that there was an empty chair. Who's missing? She said. Sally Hope, said Darrell. I last saw her in one of the practice rooms about an hour ago. Well, go and fetch her, said Miss Potts impatiently. Oh, she left when I was there, said Darrell. I don't know where she went to. Well, we'll get on without her then, said Miss Potts. She must have heard the supper bell. The girls chattered about the day they had had. Only Darrell was silent. Was Sally somewhere very upset? What could be the matter with her? Why was she so cured about things? Was she unhappy about something? Mary Lou sniffed loudly. Where's your hanky? Said Miss Potts. Haven't you got one? Oh, Mary Lou, you know you must always have one. Go and get one at once. I can't bear that sniff of yours. Mary Lou slipped out of the room and ran up the dormy. She didn't come back for a little while and Miss Potts became impatient. Really? It seems to take Mary Lou all evening to find a hanky. There came the sound of running steps, and the door of the dining room was flung open. Mary Lou came in looking even more scared than usual. Miss Potts. Oh, Miss Potts, I found Sally. She's lying on her bed in the dormy and she's making an awful noise. What sort of noise? Said Miss Potts, hurriedly getting up. A groaning sort of noise, and she kept holding herself and saying, Oh, my tummy, said poor Mary Lou, bursting into tears. Oh, Miss Potts, do go to her. She wouldn't even speak to me. Girls, get on with your supper, said Miss Potts briskly. It sounds as if Sally has eaten too many strawberries and too much ice cream. Catherine, go and tell Matron, please, and ask her to go up to your dormy. She swept out of the room. The girls began talking at once, asking scared Mary Lou all kinds of questions. Only Darrell still sat silent, a cold fear creeping around her heart. She had flung Sally across the room, and Sally had fallen over that chair. She must have hurt herself in the stomach then. Darrell remembered how she had said it hurts. It wasn't too many strawberries and too much ice cream. It was Darrell's temper that had caused the trouble. Darrell couldn't eat any more supper. She slipped off to the common room to be by herself. Surely Sally wasn't much hurt, just bruised perhaps. Surely Miss Potts would come in soon and say cheerfully, Well, well, nothing much wrong with Sally after all. Oh, I hope she does, I hope she does, said poor Darrell and waited impatiently and anxiously for the sound of Miss Potts' quick footsteps.